for every person that I talk to who is a time waster, that's time that I cannot dedicate to somebody that desperately needs what I'm going to introduce them to. Okay, so that's the way I look at it. Because if you just say, oh, well, if you do one thing and if you just open up your doors, most of your time will be wasted, like without question. And you have to learn this by trial and error. I've had many, many conversations that were waste of time, right? And so you learn this over trial and error. And that's what I would say if you're finding your place, and, even if you're not, like, that you're very guarded with who you introduce to me, because you know that I'm going to drop because of how I value you, I'm going to drop what I'm doing. I will talk to them that day or that week, depending on our schedules. It won't be, oh, yeah, here's my Calendly, let them pick something a couple of weeks out. It won't be because of how I value you. And you also know that if you introduce too many time wasters, then I'm going to be like, well, the last couple times Kelly introduced that, I still love you, but like maybe I'll give them time in a couple weeks. Because you have to learn to say no, and you have to learn to guard your time. Because you, me, Elon Musk, Steve Wynn, we all have 24 hours in a day. We have the exact same amount of time, 86,400 seconds every single day. And what you do with those ultimately determines your course in life. So if you're spending that with time with people that are just tire kickers, or they're just wasting your time, or they're even worse, sycophants and strap hangers, what you'll find, and I know that you've experienced this because you're just this like cool dude and you've got this great brand, and it's like you wrote a book and you've got like celebrity friends, and it's like you got a podcast and all that stuff. So guaranteed you've got people that just want to be around you because they're fans or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with fans, I guess, but I would never want fans, right? I honestly, and there's a reason that I have resisted getting into certain elements of media that produce fans. And there's certain things you can do, like in social media and various things, and if you present yourself properly, you won't get fans. You'll get, students or business partners or friends or whatever. That's different than fans, right? And I have no desire, my wife and I have no desire whatsoever to develop a fan base, because that's not going to move forward the mission of helping military people create financial freedom.
Wow.
Because in my opinion, for me to get a fan base, all it's going to do is try to feed my ego, but not the positive parts of my ego, only the negative parts that make me think that I'm responsible for all this, that it's not a gift from God, and that it's not by His grace that my heart is still beating. When I got up this morning, I woke up before my wife and the kids, and I was sitting there like listening to like calming music on YouTube. You put on like study music or whatever, and it's like, doo, 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 doo. And I'm sitting there thinking about the day, and I start by gratitude, right? I start by trying to find things that I'm grateful for. And oftentimes I will focus on things that are right in front of me. And this morning I was thinking about my hands, and I was like, I'm grateful for my hands, because if I am to imagine that I got in a car wreck and I got smashed up in the car wreck and my hands got mangled and they had to amputate, and I didn't have two hands, I would not be able to feel my wife. I would not be able to type on a keyboard. I would not be able to drive my car in the same way. I would not be able to, wipe my daughter's tears. I would not be able to do so many things if I didn't have hands. Wow. And so today, I'm incredibly grateful for my hands. Right? That was one of the things I was grateful for. So to, the point of, how do you divide your time, and how do you figure out, where you want to spend your time? To me, I'm incredibly grateful to have these days and this opportunity. And there was several times in Afghanistan, one time in particular when we were under a rocket attack and a PKM attack, which is a heavy machine gun or medium machine gun. And they were firing down into this kalot, this essentially it's like this mud wall that surrounds these little buildings, right? And that was where our outpost. And so they were firing down into the 107 rockets, were just blowing up everywhere. And I ran out of this little tiny shanty building, and the MRAP was up here with a 50 cal, and that's normally where I would go, right? Because I have a radio up there. I've got a 50 cal. I can fire back at the mountain. I'm in armor, and I'm on the radio calling in artillery. But instead, I decide to go right and to go straight to the wall, where it's just me and my M4, and I've got a portable radio, but no armor around me, no 50 cal, no anything. It would have made more sense to go that way, right? But instead, I turned right, And as I'm running, I hear this loud bang, and I feel this concussion on my back, and I don't pay much attention to it because there's tons of crazy stuff going on. But I get to the wall, I start firing, I call in Beast Base, fire TRP. We had mustard and mayonnaise was the name of our target reference point, so it was right up where we were seeing the flashes. So fire TRP, mustard, mayonnaise, firefight over. You're like, whoa, wow, that was crazy, and you feel like amazing to be alive, and you're just like grateful to be alive. And I walk back, and I see the hole in the culotte where I ran out, and right next to it, and I've got a picture of this, I'll show you sometime, is this massive hole where the 107 exploded. And if I had turned left, that rocket would have hit me. And I should have turned left because that's where the vehicle was, that's where the 50 cal was, that's where the more powerful radio was. But I didn't. I don't know why. I mean, I know why, right? But I don't know why, right? So I look at that and I think to myself, well, if that hadn't happened, if I had died there, I never would have met Kimberly, or rather I wouldn't have reconnected with her. Austin and Alana would not be alive. We wouldn't be sitting here. All of the people in White Feather who have created friends and family and lifelong goals and financial freedom and beautiful things would not have been impacted, at least in that way, by me, because I'd be dead.
Wow.
So when you want to look at how you spend your time, you need to understand that each day is a gift. It really is a gift. And we have no idea if this is the last conversation I'm going to have. If I leave here and I get T-boned pulling out of this and I die, this could be the last conversation we have. So with that in mind, what do you want to talk about, right? And who do you want to talk with? So when you decide who to spend your time with, think about it in terms of, if this is the last conversation that I have, is this person the type of person that will value what I'm saying? And most people aren't.